Hello guys, what's up? Welcome back to Coder Journey. This is Mortaza, and this is the next video of our TypeScript tutorial. In this video, as I have promised you guys, we will talk about interfaces. And if you are familiar with the concept of interfaces from other programming languages like C#, I think that'll be very helpful. It will really help you to better, understand interfaces in TypeScript. Now, of course, there are differences between interfaces in TypeScript and interfaces in C#, but of course, some background will help you better understand what interfaces are all about. Basically, interfaces are helpful when you want to define a type, right? And then start using that type to declare some objects from that type. So suppose that I want to declare an interface for a type called person, and then declare different objects from that type. In order to declare an interface, you can start with the keyword interface, and then you can say that this interface is of type person, right? The name of the interface is person, and then you can start adding the properties that you want. For example, I'm going to say we will have a first name of type string, right? And then we'll have a last name of type string, and then we'll have age, which is of type number. And then, of course, I can go on and declare different objects of this interface. For example, I'm going to say, let's say person one, and then this person one is of type person, the interface, right? And then I can go on and add the properties, the values of the properties, right? So for example, I can say first name is my own name, last name, my own last name, and of course we need not equals but colons, and then age is going to be my own age, right? So basically I am declaring an object of type person. Person is an interface, or I will continue talking about interfaces because I want to tell you something very important about interfaces. And then I can declare person 2 as this type, right? And then I can add different values to these properties. Now let me tell you something. If you think about it, interfaces in a sense are like aliases for this person type. So basically what I am doing here is that, TypeScript, I want to have an object of this structure, right? This object is going to have 3 properties of these types, and the name or the alias that I want for this type is person. So basically, I can think about interfaces as a way to come up with an alias with a substitute for the name of an object, right? Now, let us talk a little bit about aliases, and I think if we know a thing or two about interfaces, all this will start to make more sense. Let me give you some simple examples. I told you that aliases are like a substitute for the name of a type, right? So I know that in TypeScript, for example, I have number, right? But if I come here and say, for example, num and then equals number, what I am doing here is that I am substituting, right, the name num for number, which is a data type of TypeScript. So after this, I can go on and, for example, declare a variable of type num. So what I am doing here is that let's assign a value. I am declaring this variable of type num as and num is a type alias for number, right? I can continue this. I can say type, for example, str, right, for a string, and then I can say that const first name is of type str. So these are, then I can go on and add my own name, right? So these are aliases, type aliases, which help us to come up with a substitute name for with an alias for the type. And then I can, for example, go on and let's get rid of these. And then I can go on and say that, you know what, I have an employee, right? An employee, and this employee, or let's do this. I'm going to say type employee, right? And then in the body of this employee type, I'm going to say first name. First name is of type str. So it is perfectly, valid to use the type aliases that you have declared in your properties. And then you can say last name str, and you can say age num, right? So these are type aliases. Now, if we look back at interfaces, we can say that in a way interfaces are like coming up with a type alias for an object. So I am telling TypeScript that there is an object, there's going to be an object with these properties, and I want to call this person. And from now on, I'm going to be able to use this type, this person, to declare different objects, different variables, right? So in my opinion, interfaces and type aliases are very related in a sense. One last thing I would like to tell you guys about interfaces is that interfaces can extend from each other, right? So you can have an interface inheriting or using the properties of an interface you have already defined, and then in that second interface you can add additional properties. So for example, we have a similar concept called inheritance in C#, right? So for example, I can come here and I can declare a second interface. I'm going to call this employee, and employee is of course a person, right? Before being an employee, it's a person, and then I can start adding a specific values. For example, I can say that this should be extends. It's a mix-up from C# because C# uses semicolon, and we don't need this one. And right, I am declaring employee, which is extending from person, and employee will get all of these properties, and then I'm going to declare an employee number or employee ID as type number, right? And I'm going to get rid of these also, right? Now, if I declare a variable of type employee, right, here in the curly brace, right, in the curly brace, I can add the properties of employee. So you can see that I have age, first name, last name, which are coming from the person because we are extending person. But we also have employee ID, which is specifically defined in this employee interface. So this is the way that interfaces extend from one another. You can have a general interface and some more specific interfaces and extend from those general interfaces. And that was it for this video. Thank you so much for sticking till the very end. As always, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If that's the case, don't forget, you need to give it a thumbs up. That will keep me motivated. It will also help the videos and the channel. If you've got anything to say, leave a comment in the comment section. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.